Really?
What part of San Diego?
I live in La Mesa, but I did live for over 30 years in the metropolitan area, Kensington. How about you?
I grew up in Coronado and went to Point Loma High School.
Okay, great.
Long, long, long time ago.
I migrated here from Philadelphia. I'm a Philly girl, but I've
Um,
lived most of my life here. Nice to meet you. Thank you
nice
for
to
being
meet
here.
you. Thank you. Helen McHugh, where are you located?
I'm in Tacoma, Washington.
Oh, good. Nice town.
Mhm.
And let's see. There was a woman who was on. She's not on anymore. Anyway, I guess that she will get on.
Yeah.
Did Sharon disappear? No, there's Sharon.
Yes,
I-
Sharon is here.
I don't know who disappeared. I don't know.
So I wanted to make sure that we have our recording back on.
Looks like it.
Is it? I can't tell.
Oh, I can see it flashing on the upper left of my
It's on.
screen.
Oh,
I
yes,
had a
yeah.
message. I had a message recording beginning.
But then we turned it off when we were having difficulty. So I wanted to just check in and make sure that we have it turned back on so that we don't overlook that.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we
Is
ready?
Mary here so that, or,
Mary's
It's here.
Sorry,
Mary-
I'm muted. I was talking as well and no one could
oh,
hear me.
okay,
I
okay.
turned it on at about 3 minutes
Good.
past because
Good, okay.
people
I
were
just was,
here. And
okay.
yeah.
No, I was just
So it should
verifying.
record away, and
Oh,
whenever
wonderful.
the meeting is
Okay.
finished, once you
Okay.
close off, it'll close off. And
Okay.
I can share the recording then to whoever wants it, who's been here, whoever wants it afterwards.
Okay.
Ambika, yeah.
Mary is Mary. I'd like
Yes,
to
Sharon,
know,
hi, it's me.
what's your last name?
Diggin, Diggin. Yeah.
So you helped me.
I did. I helped you about
Thank
2
you.
months back. We had phone calls and everything. So yeah,
Thanks.
you're very welcome.
Thank you.
So we're all from America with two beautiful Irish women, and talk about imagery. The great poets, the great playwrights in the English language were from Ireland, truly the greats.
Hmm.
And it's a land where language and imagery are married to one another. It's a very beautiful country, beautiful people, and the way the language is spoken is very vivid. It's vivid. People just have very vivid expression. The country is deeply beautiful and it speaks to you. The country itself, the land speaks to you. It's very old, very old, very old culture. Is Sicily? I haven't met you. Is it Sicily? Do you say Cecily? You're muted, dear. You're muted. And Helen, I haven't said hello to.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Is it
Yes,
Cecily?
it's Cecily. Hi, sorry I'm a little late.
That's
This is as
okay.
quick as I could get here.
Where are you located?
Olympia, Washington.
Right. Good. And Helen, we said hello.
yeah, I'm in Tacoma. Yeah.
Tacoma. There's a
Washington.
woman that keeps coming on and going out, and I don't know her name fast enough. Okay, we're going to start. I'm Ambika. Oh, are you going to introduce me?
Yeah, yes, Ambika, I was just going to make a humble approach to it. I would like to introduce Ambika Waters, and you've so kindly introduced yourself and greeted everyone. And I just wanted to say that Ambika is an author of so many books. And I think it's a bit of a miracle that we chose her book to read today, because we had a discussion, what's on your shelf, back in October. And I felt that we must take into consideration the contribution that someone in our group gave about reading this book. And you were so gracious, so kind to join us as the author, because that's our tradition here. But, besides this book, I can't even mention how many books Ambika has written, from um, homeopathic medicine, chakras, life energy, inner beauty, all the explorations therein, angels. And so, and then Ambika, you can share what book you're currently working on that's related to the chakras and the archetypes. But I think we are so grateful to have you with us late this afternoon, evening, to lead our discussion on your beautiful, amazing book.
Well, thank you so much for asking. It's a pleasure to meet people who are interested in this work. It's pretty obscure. It's certainly not mainstream. And this particular book, Chakras and Archetypes, was part of the first book I ever wrote. It was too big, and the publishers divided it in half. They did one book on the chakras and then this other one on chakras and archetypes. And that was way back in 1991. It got published in 93, I think, but it's got, I always say books have wings of their own. They'll fall off a shelf into your lap. A friend will say, "This is the best book I ever read. You have to read this book." I always love the way books come to me. I have been to book fairs and book sales, and I'll find one little obscure reference I've been looking for 5 years. I love how, and like I say, they have wings. I want to say thank you very much for inviting me to be part of your group. And I'm open to discussion and questions. We're going to be talking about things that are not tangible. And when things are not tangible, we need to be able to understand and grasp through imagery, through words, ways of grasping these concepts, because that's what they are. They are models. That's what an archetype is, basically a model. Carl Jung once said, "Never identify with your archetype."
That's what's interesting.
All it is a two-dimensional representation of what you embody in this life, right? And here and now, because archetypes can change in seconds if you are willing to transform them. Let me just show you something that I work with. I work with this mandala. I got it right? No, it's this way. And it's divided into the 12 houses of the zodiac. And then I design archetypes like the mother, the victim, the same as the 14 archetypes that are in this book, plus a few others. I put them in a bowl, and then I'll just say, okay, this is for the first house, this is for the second house. And it's always amazing, especially if you get the negative archetypes. Let's say you pull the victim in the first house. The first house is the self, appearances, first impressions, beginnings, and your attitude. Beginnings, new beginnings. And let's say you pull the victim and you think, oh, how do I transform that? Archetypes, like chakras, are really mutable. They're mutable, they're changeable, they transform themselves through our consciousness. So if you get, let's say you get the victim in the first house and you want to transform it, this book itself has a lot of affirmations. It has meditations. I'll usually sit still, take a deep breath, and affirm myself in some way. I affirm my worth. I honor my choices. I love myself. I keep it as simple as I can. And affirmations are always best said in the first person, in the present tense. Nothing negative, not I am not this, I am not that. I am a daughter of the living Christ. I am a self-empowered woman. I mean, there are a million affirmations you can choose. But just the simple thought, energy follows thought, whether it's the chakra or the archetype. So as you think, so it is. I mean, that is an ancient dictum. It probably predates the Bible. I mean, it's ancient. As you think, so you are. So just a simple thought, simple, uncomplicated thought can turn that around to I am the mother. I am a queen. I am a teacher. Whatever it is you want to be, affirm yourself and let that happen. That's how simple this work is. Simple. Yes, it's simple, but you really got to believe what you're saying. So that game is something that I work with clients. I do it in workshops and retreats, and I've been using it for years and years. And I'll add the chakras, I'll add angels, I'll add many other different kinds of archetypes. As a homeopath, I will do it with remedies. I bet you're playing. You have to understand that isn't how we don't give homeopathic remedies through a game. It's actual work and a very complex analytical process. But sometimes I'll do it. I'll pick 12 different remedies or cell salts, there are 12 cell salts that are part of the inorganic salts of the physical body. I love to play with that. Or I'll do trees, or I'll do flowers, or animals, or they are all archetypal. If I say, I drew the bear, I mean, what's that archetype? Big and ferocious and powerful. I'm the little deer, I'm the squirrel. I mean, anything can be an archetype. You can take baseball players, you can take ballerinas, you can take movie stars. I once taught a course at Naropa University in Boulder, Colorado, on just archetypes and card decks. And it was amazing some of the ideas people had. One guy did birds, different kinds of birds. Those were his archetypes. Another one did old 1930s and 40 movie stars, Humphrey Bogart, and that wonderful man who played the Thin Man. Can't remember his name, William Powell, I think. So anything can be an archetype, and you can add whatever dimension you want to it. And what I've added to it are the chakras, because that's the work that really does interest me. I've been doing yoga for 52 years, and the chakras are just part of that system of understanding different levels of energy. And I thought perhaps we could start by doing a very simple meditation if you're open to it. Does anybody have any objection to doing a simple meditation? Okay, yes. Do you have an objection? Or are you okay with it? Let me see. Is it Maureen?
I'll say
Oh, that's
thumbs up.
thumbs up. Okay, I like that thumbs up. Okay,
The
thumbs up.
The archetype of go ahead.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do is take off your glasses, sit back and be comfortable. And I'm going to guide you through the 7 major chakras of the human energy system. And I will ask you to visualize a shape and a color. The shape, the form is important. It helps you learn to visualize things you like, and the color carries emotional content. So sit back and relax and take a couple of real deep breaths in the nose and blow the tension away out through the mouth. Release any tension in your neck, behind your eyes, in your jaw. Expand your chest, expand your intake of air, and release that breath out through your mouth. Just blow it away, blow the tension of the day away. I'd like you to bring your awareness down to the base of your spine, and I'd like you to visualize a large red cube right at the very base of your spine. This is the symbol for the root chakra. The qualities of the root chakra are patience, order, structure, safety and security, and stability. I'd like you to expand this large red cube so that it actually holds you. I sometimes like to visualize a large red barn. I'd like you to feel the very base of your spine. Feel this energy anchoring you down through your legs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, into your feet and toes, and connecting you to Mother Earth. This is the root chakra. I use the divinities of the Archangel Michael, Ganesh, the great Hindu god of good luck and fortune, and the Blessed Virgin Mary. If you have any prayers for greater grounding, a deeper connection to nature, to the earth forces, to the elementals, if you need more patience in your life, a stronger structure, need for safety and security, order, address those prayers to the Blessed Mother and ask her to help you ground your being, ground your spirit in your physical body on this earth now. Now I'd like you to bring your awareness up to the sacral chakra, which is located above the root chakra in the area of the navel. And I'd like you to visualize a large orange pyramid with the apex pointing up towards your heart. This sacral chakra, the qualities are health, beauty, resiliency, pleasure, delight, and ease, abundance, wealth and prosperity, and unconditional love, forgiveness, and gratitude. I'd like you to expand the form of this large orange pyramid and visualize the color orange. Keep expanding this form. The deities that I call upon are the Archangel Metatron and the Hindu goddess Lakshmi, who brings good fortune, and Jesus Christ as the divine entity. If you have prayers for better health, beauty, resiliency, pleasure, ease, delight, abundance, wealth, prosperity, and unconditional love, forgiveness, and gratitude, address them to the Christ. Keep expanding that form. Don't let it contract. Good. Now bring your awareness up to the solar plexus, which sits right above the sacral chakra. And I'd like you to visualize a large yellow or golden globe. This chakra is devoted to self-love, self-esteem, confidence, self-empowerment, the tools of manifestation, and ultimately the choice of love. Expand the form of this large golden or yellow globe. This is ruled over by the Archangel Uriel and the Hindu goddess Kali, who helps us release what doesn't serve our lives any longer. This is the realm of the Holy Spirit. Expand the form. If you have a need for greater self-worth, self-esteem, confidence, empowerment, to learn the tools of manifestation, and to truly choose love as the center of your life. Address your prayers to the Holy Spirit and keep expanding this chakra. Now we transcend the diaphragm. The three lower chakras are called the personal chakras. And now we move into the realm of the impersonal, the transpersonal chakras that involve our relationships with others. And we're going to the center of the human energy system, which is the heart chakra. I'd like you to visualize a large pink or gold heart sitting in the center of your chest. It is protected by the heart protector, which is a green crescent moon. It goes from shoulder blade to shoulder blade, and the heart is centered right in this heart protector. I'd like you to expand the form of the pink or gold heart and the green heart protector in the front and the back. It's like a seed pod, and it holds your beautiful, innocent, and pure heart. The qualities of the heart are sister and brotherhood, love, joy, and peace. This chakra is ruled over by the Archangel Raphael, the Hindu god Krishna, and this is the home of the presence of God within us. Expand the form, breathe into it, breathe deeply into your chest, expand the form, and intensify the colors of pink and green, which represent the heart chakra. If you have a need for greater love, more peace, more beauty, more a sense of connection with your sisters and brothers on this planet, address those prayers to the presence of God within you. And keep expanding and breathing into this chakra. This chakra is in the center of the human energy system, and its quality of love is the center of our lives. Big breath. Now I'd like you to bring your awareness up to your throat, and I'd like you to visualize an inverted turquoise blue pyramid with the apex pointing down towards the heart and the base lodged around your jaw and neck. This is the throat chakra. The throat chakra qualities are about communication, truth, willpower, creativity, and clarity of expression. It also includes integrity, personal integrity. If you have prayers to deepen your communication skills with clarity, use your willpower for your growth and development. Be a truth teller in all situations and be as creative as you possibly can in your life. Address your prayers to the Archangel Gabriel. This is known in metaphysics as the mouth of God, and this is where angels whisper in our ears. So if you have prayers to expand this chakra, address your prayers to the mouth of God or to the angels, to the Archangel Gabriel, and keep expanding this chakra. This chakra is the weakest chakra in the human energy system. And we all want to become clear communicators, use our will for our highest good, live in integrity and speak our truth, and be as creative as we possibly can. So expand the form of this inverted turquoise blue pyramid and intensify the color. Good. Now bring your awareness up to your brow chakra, which is right between your eyebrows. And I'd like you to visualize an indigo blue 5-pointed star with the apex pointing right up through the center of your skull. The qualities of the brow chakra are wisdom, intuition, discernment, vision, and knowledge. Expand the form of this indigo blue 5-pointed star. Keep expanding it. And this is ruled over by the Shekinah, which is known in Hebrew as the feminine face of God, or the goddess. This is ruled over by the moon in astrology. If you have prayers for greater wisdom, better discernment, deeper intuition, true knowledge, and deeper vision, offer your prayers up to the goddess within you. And keep expanding this large, large indigo blue 5-pointed star. Now I'd like you to bring your awareness to the very crown of your skull. This is known as the crown chakra, which connects us to the spiritual realm. The color is violet and the form is a skull cap that sits right over the crown chakra. The qualities of the crown chakra are bliss and beauty and serenity. And this is ruled over by the Christ light. I'd like you to expand the form of this violet skull cap, intensify the color violet. And if you have prayers for bliss, beauty, and serenity, please address them to the Christ light within you. Now we seal these chakras by visualizing a cross of light within a circle of light. And I'd like you to start at the crown and we're going to work down to the root chakra. I'd like you to visualize a cross of light within a circle of light over your crown chakra. Come down to the brow and visualize a cross of light within a circle of light over the brow chakra. Bring your awareness down to your throat and visualize a cross of light within a circle of light over the throat chakra. Bring your awareness down to your heart chakra. Visualize a cross of light within a circle of light over your heart chakra. Bring your awareness down to your solar plexus. I'd like you to visualize a cross of light within a circle of light over your solar plexus chakra. Down to your sacral chakra, visualize a cross of light within a circle of light over the sacral chakra. And finally, bring your awareness down to your root chakra at the base of your spine and visualize a cross of light within a circle of light over the root chakra. Now imagine from the crown of your head to the base of your spine and across your shoulders, a vibrant, vibrant cross within a circle of light that surrounds your body. That seals and protects the volatile and delicate energy of the chakras. And it keeps this energy that you've built through this meditation intact. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, come back into present time in the room. Please come back. I can see some of you still have your eyes closed. Come on back, gals. Would you like to share? Anybody want to share their experience?
This is Marjorie, and I want to say that what I just experienced is a amazing bringing to life what you wrote about in the book. You, as you said, you can't become one or the other, and there are not always ways to explain it, but we experienced what you wrote. I think we just experienced in a very deep spiritual way what you spoke about. It was also a healing, I feel,
I
journey
can see it
because,
on your face.
yeah,
Yeah, you
I,
look beautiful. You look really radiant
I,
and youthful and youthful.
yeah, I do have to say, as I read it, I said, well, where am I? And I could feel little pieces of all the different chakras and the archetypes. I could feel this different parts of it. And I said, well, aren't we all parts of everything? But you gave us that experience. And I have to say, it hit at a very deep level. And it was very powerful
Thank
from an
you.
internal experience. And thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. You can get to a mirror. Go look in a mirror right now. Right now. If you
Oh,
can see
I
yourself
can
on
see
screen,
myself in the picture. It's like looking in a mirror on the computer.
you look very fresh, very youthful, very radiant. It's beautiful
Oh,
to see.
wow.
Beautiful. Well,
Thank
I tell you something, I developed this chakra over years and years and years. When I first started, I was had just moved to Britain to study homeopathy, and I was living in the north of England, which is cold and dank and dark, and I don't want to say friendless. It took a long time to get to know people. I was a middle-aged American woman on my own, and it just took a long time. And so I did a lot of meditation work, but my root chakra was the size of a small postage stamp. It was so tiny, and I was so ungrounded. I had lived in Africa, I had lived in Spain, I had been out of the United States for, at that point, 20 years, nearly 20 years. And I needed to get grounded quickly. And this meditation, I remember taking this little postage stamp, and every day I would do this chakra meditation. I developed it. It took time, but eventually it became the barn that held me. And I lived in what's called the Lake District. I think you gals
Yeah. Yeah.
from
No.
Ireland know it. And I lived in old cottages that had big barns, and I could go in the barn and really visualize this, that I was being held. And it helped me heal. This meditation helped me heal over years and years and years. So did homeopathy, and so did making friends with people who were very true. I must say, for the Brits and the beautiful Irish gals that I met very true people. And coming from Southern California, that isn't always my experience, if you know what I mean. So you can work with it, you can develop what works for you. It's just giving you a sense that you have more than this physical body. We know we have a spiritual body, but we have this body in between, which is called the etheric body. And in the etheric body, the chakras reside. And they look like trumpets. They look like big clarions with open mouth. And they go out in the front and they also go out the back, except for the root chakra goes down and the crown chakra goes up. I think most people that I see are usually blocked in their sacral chakra, which is health, and also in the crown chakra. The crown chakra, the throat chakra, and the sacral chakra, I see can become very dysfunctional. It's very hard for us in our culture still for women to speak their truth, to be able to say, no, I don't like that. No, that doesn't work for me. Yes, I'd like it this way, without screaming, without hysterics, without argument, just this is what I choose. This is who I am. This is what I choose. And it takes work. It takes work to develop this one. This one is such a thin space between the chakra and the skin itself. And it gets very blocked up with gossip, maligning other people, substance abuse, overeating, undereating. This one is the one where the mystics say it has a crack in the vessel. You can get right up to the heart chakra and love the world, love the world, but not be able to say, ouch, this hurts. And this is the one we all need to work on. All of us need to work on it. It's a muscle. It's a muscle. When I was doing the chakra work in England and developing these ideas, I looked for people who represented them. And I met a broadcaster from the BBC, and she had a communication chakra unlike anything. Her throat chakra was like, she was the Muhammad Ali of the throat chakra. I'm telling you, she was a truth teller. She could tell you anything in truth and love. It's you don't meet many people who have that capacity. And she was the model. And in the book, I also used my homeopath, who was a beautiful woman named Lorraine Hart, who had been in a horrible car accident and had her vocal cord severed by the steering wheel and had to have a what do you call it? A tracheotomy, where she spoke through a hole in her throat and had many, I think at the time I knew her, she had 14 operations. And it was through a very good homeopath who used to work in Britain, Jeremy Shear, an Israeli who now works in Tanzania. He helped her get her voice back. And she was such a clear communicator, such a truth teller. She was a blessing to know. So this is a work in progress. It doesn't just happen that you grow these fabulous, steel against stone chakras. You develop them. You make choices for yourself. You decide you're going to be a truth teller. You make the decision to get rid of what is negative and what is unwholesome in your life and what doesn't work. You make the choices. And with every choice, the chakra grows and it becomes more empowered. I even made homeopathic color and sound remedies to build the chakras. It's one of the things that it's my contribution to homeopathy. And these are remedies that work on the chakras at a physical level and an emotional level, a mental level, and a spiritual level. So that's something I've been doing for many years, since I developed those in 1990 on the coldest, darkest day in the north of England. I live near Coniston Water. I don't know if you Irish gals know Coniston Water. It's a beautiful lake. And I made the remedies with pure water, theatrical gels. And I put these glasses in there was no light. It was just gray, just various shades of gray. It was the winter solstice, December 21st. I stuck these glasses on a tray for, I think, about 6 hours. Then I fixed them with, you couldn't get alcohol. You couldn't get pure alcohol. You had to use Polish spirits to fix your remedies in those days. And I sat with them for a while. And then I started asking people in homeopathic college and different places where I met people if they'd would they try the remedies? I live near the largest Manjushri Buddhist community in the Western world. It was an enormous castle, enormous, and they had resident Buddhist students and Buddhist priests and nuns. And I went there and I asked them if they would be willing to try out these, because in doing a proving in the homeopathic fashion, you want people to have the same variables. Food was the same, they breathed the same air, they drank the same water, they had the same daily practice, which is pretty unusual to be able to find that in any community. And they did it, and three of them did and had outstanding experiences. One gal was a nun. She'd been a nun for like, I think, close to 40 years, and she suffered from rheumatoid arthritis. Her name was Mavis, and I said, I didn't tell them what color I gave them. I gave them all indigo blue because it's the universal color of healing. And I didn't want aggravations. I didn't want problems in case it didn't work. So she broke out along the meridians, the acupuncture meridians, all the way from her neck all the way down to the bottom of her feet in huge boils, right down, like just followed the meridian, the liver meridian, right down through her body. And it freed her of pain. She had had rheumatoid arthritis for years and years, and those boils were actually the toxins that were being released. It was very powerful to see. And another boy, he was more boy than man. He was about 20, and he wanted to become a Buddhist monk. And he was shy, very timid, very inward. And I asked, one of the things you ask when you take a case is, what are your fears? And he said, I'm terrified of jumping off these cliffs. We were right on the sea, on the Irish Sea. And he said, these other monks and young men would dive into the freezing cold water of the Irish Sea throughout the year, and he was terrified of it. So when I came back after a week of them taking the remedy, I said, tell me, did you have any fears? He said, no, I actually dove into the water. I said, really? He said, it was fantastic. And I said, anything else? And this was the one, the clincher. He said, 5 women fell in love with me this week. And I said, really? Really? He said, I got over my fear of women. Well, that was the end of him becoming a Buddhist monk, I hate to say. And I had no idea where he went. 9 years later, I ran into him up in the Lake District at a conference, and he came up to me. I didn't recognize him, and he said, that remedy changed my life. I went down to London, I got a job, I met a girl, we got married, we've got 3 children. It was like he just got into life. It was pretty exciting. And one of the books that I did write was Homeopathic Color and Sound Remedies. And I use the chakras in any capacity I can. I call them the ladder of love. It's an ascension into a higher state. Have you got any questions or any comments I'd like to hear from you? Yes.
I have a question about the shapes. Did you come up with those, or are those from
Yeah,
another?
Well, yes, they're my shapes, but they're also universal shapes. They're universal, and they show up in different drawings of the chakras from India. They're more complex, the Indian symbols. Let's see if we can. No, they aren't on my thing. Are they on your thing, Marjorie?
What? Oh,
They're just simplifications. They're really simplifications.
okay. So
Yeah.
they kind of come from that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
chakras are really old. They're like 18,000 years old in the Hindu Tibetan tradition. And I just kept wanting to simplify everything. the great thing about the West, I mean, in the East, they have the symbols, they have the mythology, you know, the gods and the goddesses. But what we have is psychology. What we have is this inner awareness. And when you couple that with the issues of these chakras, that's, I think, where you can get real healing. You know, if you have trouble with money, there are people who are perpetually bankrupt or who never have enough or live in lack. Go to the second chakra, expand that chakra, and start affirming your right to wealth and prosperity. You know, it's that simple. If you have an issue of confidence, go to the solar plexus chakra and start affirming your right to what I call it confidence for life. It's something that's said in the Jewish prayers on the Sabbath, to have confidence for life. And that is, isn't that what we all want and particularly need at this time right now? So I just simplified a system that had been in existence for a very long time, and that includes the forms.
I love it. Because I've always just done the globes, you know, just the circles. And I think this is just, to actually, and I think everybody here does guided imagery as a profession or avocation. And this book you wrote really lends itself extremely well to imagery.
Yes, it does. It's the ability to experience and be with something that you can't see. You have to be able to create that in your mind's eye. And that in itself is such a powerful tool to be able to visualize. Let's say you want a new car and you have to be able to visualize the car. I've always found visualization really challenging. I am not good at it, but this work has helped me over years and years to be able to say, okay, let's say I want a red, I don't, but let's say I did. I want a red convertible with white walls or, you know, a sports car or something. You've got to be able to see it. If you want it, you have to be able to see it and affirm that. So this work is what's more powerful than your own energy system?
I wanted to ask you too about the not just the archetypes, but the qualities of the different chakras. Some of them conflicted with other books that I've read about chakras. And I'm wondering, I mean, it seems like there's no hard and fast, because it is like maybe.
There isn't any hard and fast.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is what
like,
I got doing this
when you
work.
have ego be the throat, I was like, no, wait a minute. Ego's got to be the solar plexus, you know, but.
It is. It's called the small mind. The solar plexus is known as the lower mind. So yes, it does have ego in there. And ego ego can be anywhere. You can have ego down in your root chakra if you're not careful. You could be sitting on your root chakra and you could be sitting on your ego if you weren't careful. Do you know what I'm saying? But yes, the solar plexus is very much about ego. It's about, we say in homeopathy, let me see if I can put this clearly. Want of personal identity. That's what we say. When somebody has stomach issues, they have issues in that solar plexus chakra, indigestion, pancreatitis, gallbladder issues, liver, inflamed liver. Often you see a want of personal identity. Now that's an old Victorian language that we use in homeopathy, and it's never been upgraded. But it means that a person doesn't really know who they are. They need an ego. Jung said, you need an ego that's as strong as steel against stone. You need to know who you are. And so developing that chakra will really help build a healthy ego, not an inflated ego, not a narcissistic ego. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. Because like you didn't mention that in the book for the third chakra as much. So it's nice to get confirmation.
That's another book. That's another book. Yeah.
I just really loved your book, and I've created a meditation for each of the chakras using your archetypes from my meditation group, and we're going through a
Oh,
seven.
how lovely.
Oh,
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lot of it in my work, and I've used chakras in my work, but this really just gave it a lot of depth, and well done. So many good things about your book.
Thank you. I'm working on another book now, which is a compilation of all the books I've done on chakras. I've written 8 books on chakras. So I'm putting it all together in one book now. I'm not quite finished with it, but it has the archetypes. It has the remedies, the homeopathic color and sound remedies. It has, well, it's just a big book. It's not quite finished, and I hope I get it finished in the next few months.
Yeah, I would love to access that book. That would really be great.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's a journey. You know, like I said, it started with this little postage stamp root chakra, you know, and as I kept growing and developing, more and more knowledge and information just became part of my process. But you
Yes.
want energy. We can't live without having access to our energy field. We can't. You, no matter how smart you think you are, trust me, you will never be able to move forward in this environment. This is a very broken and very challenging environment for all of us. Ain't nobody gonna get away from this environment. We've got to be able to have control of our energy field, or we're going to be taken down with every bit of bad news that comes our way, or everything that doesn't fit into our mindset. So I think it's really important to be able to know your energy field, to expand your field, and to create a level of protection around yourself so that you're not constantly assaulted by the environment.
Okay.
You gals from Ireland, you have that built into you. It's built into you. It's built into how you were raised as children. Your belief in guardian angels, your belief in the angelic realm. You know, you may not like all of it, but you come with a level of protection. Questions? Comments?
I have a
Everything?
question,
Sure.
Cecily. I'm just wondering, do you work with dream symbology or archetypes? You talk about archetypes that show up in your dreams.
Yes. I mean, I went to the Jung Institute in 1972, 73 to study the archetypes. I was there for 4 months and had some private therapy sessions with people who worked with dream analysis, and I came to love it. I use it in my own life. I don't do it with clients. Although in homeopathy they've started to repertorize remedies based on dreams. We have a few homeopaths who are very dream oriented, and Edmund Whitmont, who was head of the Jung Institute, was also one of the great homeopaths. He's passed on, but his books are out there, and he talks a lot about archetypes and dreams. I just do it in my own personal life, but yes, it's profound. If you can carry people to that level of consciousness through their dreams, it's very healing. Yes. Barbara.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing a little bit more about your homeopathic remedy that you were talking about. It seems to have had a kind of an eclectic effect, you know, from rheumatoid arthritis to
Yeah, that's right.
expanding from an
That's right.
introvert to extrovert or wherever he was at that time. Yeah, so I'm interested to hear more about that. And is that available?
Yes, it is. I'm going to put my website up here. Hang on. .com. I have a book. I have a few books. I wrote, first of all, I wrote a book called Homeopathic Color Remedies that Random House has had on their list forever. And then I developed sound remedies 6 years later in New Mexico. Where is Mary? Is Mary on? Yes, Mary, I went up to Silver City and to the Mimbres Valley, and I made the sound remedies up there because it's so, do you know the Mimbres? Mary, I think you're muted, dear.
Right, yeah, I am. Yes,
You know the Mimbres. You know how
yes,
beautiful it is. I had friends
yeah.
up there, and I used to go up there constantly. I was up there 30 times in 3 years. I loved it, loved it. And it was
Wow.
so pristine and so rich. And so I made the sound remedies up there, but they just stayed in a very low potency for years and years, 20 years. And then the homeopathic pharmacy in Britain got in touch with me and they said, it's time, get these things out into the world. So they took them up to a 30C potency, and then I had to write the book, Homeopathic Color and Sound Remedies. And they're wonderful because they follow the chakras. They follow the issues of the chakras. The chakras have organs of affinity. You know, when you're talking about your gallbladder, you're talking about your solar plexus chakra. When you're talking about your knees aching, it's your root chakra. I mean, it's got this, is Sonia? Is this Sonia? Sonia Lindstrom? Hi. Hi. I hope you have a chance to follow.
I'm sorry.
But there's a recording if you want to catch up. So I've used these color and sound remedies. I use them in conjunction with homeopathic remedies, deep acting homeopathic remedies. I'll tell you where they had the greatest effect was on autistic children. They loved them. It was like M&Ms. They couldn't get enough of them. They loved them. And the mothers saw big change in their children's ability to assimilate not just a remedy, but to assimilate what was going on in their lives. That was a very rewarding experience for me. I spent 4 years just working in the field of autism, and I used the color and sound remedies a lot. I've used them for all kinds of things. They soothe the nervous system. They help expand your communication abilities. They're wonderful for the heart. I'll just tell you about one case. A woman came to me. I lived up on Whidbey Island for you gals up in Washington State for a few years. It was a bit too cold and a bit too wet for me, but it was very beautiful. And a woman came who was in her mid-60s. Her husband had Alzheimer's. She had lost a son in a horrible drowning accident when he was 16. And she had 2 other daughters who fled and went to Europe to live. And so she was really on her own, looking after her sick husband. And she had chronic chest problems, chronic pneumonias, chronic bronchiectasis, chronic just lungs, purulent lungs. And I must say, after 10 years of working and studying in England, I learned a lot about treating the lungs. So I was able to help her homeopathically, and she started to heal up. But then I realized how much grief that this woman was getting shovel loads of grief every day in her life, every day in her life. And I thought I would try pink. So I gave her homeopathic pink in a 30C potency to take twice a day, morning and evening. She came back. I only see my clients like once a month. Homeopathy is slow acting. You have to let a remedy run its course, and then I do follow-ups on a monthly basis. She came back and she had color in her face. You know, she was animated. And she said, I can't thank you enough for that remedy. She said, I took a room in my house and I painted it pink. And then I got a rocking chair and I painted it pink. And then I crocheted a shawl and I painted it pink and wrapped myself up in it. She said, my world was pink and I could sit in that world for 20 minutes, half an hour every day and find my peace. Well, it was really interesting. The daughters came back. The 2 girls came back individually, and they didn't live, I don't think they lived on Whidbey. I think they stayed with her for a while, and then they lived somewhere in the Seattle area where they could see their mother and father on a regular basis. And that brought great joy into her life. And her husband, it was that daily grind of taking care of somebody who was chronically ill and deteriorating, but she managed it. She had grit, and she had a spark that had been pulverized by life. And it was really something to see. I never imagined in a million years that pink could do that. It is the color of mother love. And children, have you ever seen Carillion photography where they capture the whole aura of a person? It's pretty big in England. I don't think I've ever seen it in America, but I'm sure it exists. Anyway, whenever they photographed children, their auras up to the age of 7 were pink. And the mother's auras were pink. They were sometimes, part of the same auric field. So it's mother love, and it's a remedy I use a lot. I use pink a lot. For people who have sleeping problems, I use pink and violet together, and that's just like a good night's sleep. I use yellow. A lot of men do well with yellow. It's about empowerment. When you mix pink and orange, it's a party. That's a fiesta. Be careful how you use it. Do not go shopping when you've taken pink and orange. It's like, so yeah, I love the color remedies. I love the sound remedies. And I've gone on to make many other esoteric remedies. I actually run a class called the Illumination Remedy class. Turns out that there are a lot of homeopaths very interested in making their own unique remedies. And we have a gal from New Zealand, from Rome, the rest are from the United States. I've just written an article for a homeopathic journal about the remedies this class has created. They're stunning. One gal made a remedy from Mount Shasta water. Another made a remedy from a well from the center of Rome, where miracles have happened since pre-Roman times. It's called Madonna del Pozzo, the Lady of the Well. And it's miraculous. We saw some extraordinary healing. But what's wonderful is this group of women just want to make remedies, and I show them how to do it. These are called imponderables in homeopathics. Imponderables are what you can't see or touch. X-ray, sunlight, moonlight. Anyway, it's become kind of a passion. It started with the color remedies. I make archangel remedies. I make angels of the 12 holy nights of Christmas. I just can't stop. It's definitely a part of me as a healer. And there will be a book. There will be a book called The Illumination Remedies out, hopefully before the end of the year, that we're doing as a class. If anybody's interested in that, it's on the website. Any more questions or comments? I'd love to hear what you have to say. Marjorie.
This is Marjorie, and I'm always amazed at things that happen when I, for instance, started reading your book. And then I have a number of materials and notes from various times in my life. And it's amazing to me what shows up, and they're not in any organized way where I could go to it. I think they somehow, you use the word float or fly, they show up. They show up. And
Yeah.
what showed up, I have all these parts, and on them are written the alphabet of I think of love. But this one, I don't even know where it came from. It says the swan music. Safe space, control is an illusion. The swan music, beautiful music, let go of ego. But on the back, it says exactly what you were saying, to be in love, accepting of myself as I am, without judgment, with kindness, generosity, and humor, and forgiveness. And that is the beautifulness of that, of
That's
what you're
beautiful.
talking about. And
That's
this is what
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And I thought it was exactly what you were talking about when you talk about the narcissistic versus, what is I think maybe I'm mixed up on that, but the way you really need to love yourself is,
Really, that's right. To really love yourself, and forgiveness is a huge
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
Huge. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious. And I'm starting to see in my dotage compassion. Compassion is a major, major part of it. And to be able to love unconditionally. One of the ladies in this remedy group, a homeopath, made a remedy called unconditional love, and she made it from the saliva of a puppy that she had caught. The puppy had come into the house and she caught the puppy's paw in the door, and it squealed. And the next minute it came over to her and he put his head on her lap, and she said, if that isn't unconditional love, I don't know what is. And she made a remedy of it. And what we do as a group is we test these remedies out on one another. And I think it was about 10 days ago, I took this remedy, unconditional love, and it was like, I just started smiling. It was like, I mean, it wasn't forced, it just came upon me. And I thought, I'd like to leave the planet anchored in unconditional love. That's something I'd love to do. So it's a journey. This is life's journey. It's which I think all of you work in. Your capacity to understand imagery and to help people to understand imagery is to help people develop a part of their mind, their higher mind, to grasp some of these archetypal spiritual principles upon which we hope to live our lives. Imagery is not just imagery, it's a tool that expands the higher mind. There's a bookstore on the peninsula I used to go to. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was run by a spiritual community. What was the name of that bookstore? They have one in, yes,
East,
East West.
Menlo
Thank you.
Park. No, it's in Mountain View. It has been
Mountain
there
View.
forever. Mountain View, California. It has been there forever.
Yes.
I walked in after not being there for a long time, and that's where they had your book.
Well,
Actually, they
that's
had
right.
it on the shelf. And
You know
she said,
something? That's the
yeah,
higher mind. I would walk through the door. I used to do workshops there years and years ago when I first came back to, and I'd walk through the door and I thought, I'm in the higher mind. I literally walked into the higher mind because they have all the gurus, all the spiritual teachers, wonderful spiritual books. They have a store in Seattle, or they used to have a store in Seattle. I don't know if it's still there. But that was where I got this concept of the higher mind. And imagery work is such a higher level of consciousness. You're helping people, I don't know, fine tune the higher mind with your work. Do you grasp that, or am I?
no, I know what you're saying, because there's so many kinds of imagery, and one kind is the integrative type, where you are actually helping people, supporting them in their own, what is coming up for them, their own personal, maybe archetypes or that are coming up, their images about themselves and their own journey, and you're holding the space so they can actually experience and find meaning and understanding, and in that process through imagery. And you're so that is one kind of imagery that is out there, and that really is unique to each person, their own birthing
Connect.
of their, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the birthing and that connection is what a gift to be given the tools to make connections. It's what we say about homeopathy, is we are making the connections. We are making the connections. You are making the connections with your work. Any questions about archetypes? Anything I can share with you? I mean, my knowledge is limited, but I do love the realm of archetypes.
I just wanted to ask, which was so amazing. You know, I think of like the ancient archetypes, but you really touched on today. What are the
Mm.
archetypes in our theater? I mean, we just had the Academy Awards, right?
We did. That's very archetypal. Boy, wasn't that just? I mean, the movies themselves were, you know, from Oppenheimer to Barbie was, and everything in between. I mean, those people are like the ancient priests and priestesses who used to put on passion plays so people could grasp the understanding of spiritual principles. I wish that they were a little more priestly, but they are archetypes very much, and the films this year were very archetypal, very archetypal. And you gals from Ireland, I'm sure you're very proud of Killian. I mean, really, what a fabulous actor, and what a brilliant job he did. What an extraordinary movie. And talk about the archetype of the atomic bomb itself, really. Are any of you familiar with constellation family therapy? Anybody familiar with that?
I know family therapy, but I don't know constant.
Constellation family therapy is really a brilliant form of owning archetypes. And there's a story, very interesting story in one of the books about an American woman who's married to a Japanese man. And every time she went to Japan to meet his family, they treated her terribly. They were rude, they were nasty, they were abusive, and she couldn't understand, why me? What did I do? I don't understand. Why are they treating me so badly? So she gets into a constellation group, and the facilitator says, "Tell me, what did your father do?" She said, "Well, my father worked at Los Alamos on the atomic bomb." These people,
Ouch.
without knowing anything about this girl,
Yeah.
they knew that they didn't like her, and it was not personal. So they brought in the archetype. When they do the constellation, it's brilliant. They pick people from the audience to be your mother, your father. They pick somebody to be the atomic bomb. And she got a lot of resolution so that the next time she went to Japan, it was a lot better. She understood why they didn't like her. And it had nothing to do with her, but it's something they picked up. I mean, really, I'll never forget reading that.
And I'm going to put in a quick plug. I'm sorry, Ambika. I'm going to put in a quick plug for the next Imagery International webinar, which is on family constellations and imagery.
Oh, good for you.
Just timely. Just very timely.
They're brilliant. They are
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Elena, you had a question.
Yes. Hi, yes. Thank you. I did want to thank you for sharing about, you said something about you had some difficulty with imagery or
Oh,
perhaps visualizing, and that was so helpful to hear because I can relate to that, and to hear that coming from someone like you does my heart good.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm an artist too. I paint. That's Lakshmi behind me, and over here are my angels, and I paint. But you asked me to visualize letters or a tree, or I struggle with it. It's weak. It's not. I put it out. Whatever it is, I get it out. I get it out on paper. I get it out on canvas. But when I have to sit there and visualize something, it's like, it's a struggle. I'm not kidding. It's not. It
Get
doesn't
it.
come easily. And
Thank
they're
you.
people, they're children, and people who haven't lost their capacity to imagine. That is like, oh, to me, that's magic, just magic.
And then I had, thank you, two more points that I wanted to bring up. The next one had to do with, so many years ago, I took an online chakra questionnaire to determine if your chakras were open or closed.
Really?
Many of mine were closed from the answers that I gave to their questionnaire. And then
I
in
would-
your, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
Oh,
Go
in
ahead.
your meditation that you did with us tonight,
Mhm.
I did subtly notice when we got to the throat chakra, I could not I could not visualize that lighted cross in that lighted circle in the throat chakra. So I thought that was interesting.
So work on that. Work on that. I mean, nobody's chakras are 100%. Nobody. And everybody's got issues. And I'll tell you, all you have to do is be pulled over by a policeman and told that you're going too fast or too slow. All your chakras are going to close down. I mean, come on. They're very volatile. They're made out of this very fine etheric film. It's like netting almost. Very, very fine, very fragile, but very responsive. The beauty of them is how responsive they are to thought. But they can be, listen, if you bump into a wall, your chakra's going to go that way. It's like, you know, it's sometimes very, I do this meditation fairly regularly, at least once a week, sometimes every day when I'm stressed, because it just keeps me in alignment. I want to show you, do you gals work with pendulums? Anybody here work with a pendulum? Mary?
I do occasionally, yeah.
Okay, so
The very
one of the
Irish thing.
it's a very Irish thing. I learned this in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the things you can do if you want to see how your chakras work is learn to use a pendulum. I like to get anything that can spin. You have chakras on both the palms of both hands, and it will pick up the electromagnetic energy. Now watch this. I'm beautiful and everybody loves me. Say this with me. I'm beautiful and everybody loves me. I'm beautiful and everybody loves me. I'm ugly and nobody loves me. I'm ugly and nobody loves me. I'm ugly and nobody loves me. I'm beautiful and everybody loves me. I'm beautiful and everybody loves me. That's how energy follows thought. And it's that immediate, that quick, that quick. So when you put an image, when you help somebody visualize an image, their chakras are, they're sparking off like that. You just, you know, wherever you are in that process, you can do this to yourself. Hold this over your chakras and get a sense of what's normal, what's regular, and then start affirming. I'm beautiful and everybody loves me. I love my life. I love everything in my life. I am positive. I am whole. I am complete. I am a daughter of the universe. And watch what happens when you start affirming, because this thing takes off like a helicopter.
Wow.
And I will do it. I never do it on anybody without their permission. And I think that it's been a wonderful tool for me. When I went to study homeopathy, one of my teachers said, Ambika, put away your pendulum and learn to think. How do you do that? I've been perceiving for so long. He said, learn to think. And that's something I find myself saying often to women. Please think about this. Please think about your situation. Don't just be reactive to it. Learn to think. So it's nice to have what they call vision thinking. Visionary thinking is when you're using both hemispheres of the brain. The left brain is, we know that, the rational mind, the computive mind, the quantitative mind, and the right brain is the perception, the grace, the beauty, the light, the color, the magic. You know, I tend to go more in that way than that way, but as a homeopath, I had to learn how to think and how to analyze a case, and took me a long time. I'm a slow learner. I am a very slow learner. And I think it's why I got along so well with autistic children, because they're not necessarily slow, but I had this, I don't want to call it developmental delay. It was just that was my rhythm. And I came into my power, my empowerment when I was well over 50, well over 50. Oh, I'm 78 years old now, and I have no plans on stopping for the next till it's over. But it's something I'm very grateful for. These tools they can be life preserving. I often see those. Remember when they had those concerts in Las Vegas where there were these random shooters? Do you remember that? How could you forget? I thought, goodness, how could they not have listened to themselves to know that it wasn't okay to go there? I mean, I ask all the time, is it okay to go into this crowd? Is it okay to talk to you? I ask, is this for my highest good to present these bizarro ideas to people? And if I get a yes, then I'm willing to do it. And if I get a no, believe me, I don't show up. It's thank you very much. Find somebody else. So these can be life enhancing tools to be able to read your chakra energy, to be able to listen to the wise guidance of your soul. Isn't that ultimately what we're talking about here? To listen to the wise guidance of your soul and to know whatever the images are that show up for you, they are guides, they are guidance. Does that make sense? I hope I haven't overstepped my bounds here.
You're talking about deep intuition, that is the deep intuition that our ancestors, I'm sure, had so deeply embraced and developed within them to operate, at least in the spiritual members of communities were very tuned into, I imagine. I only can imagine.
But I couldn't
But
imagine you gals all are highly intuitive. I wouldn't be able to even get these words out if you weren't open to hearing them. Do you understand that? It takes two. You're open to this. You're open to what I'm sharing with you. And you're giving me the space to share, and for which I'm deeply grateful. It doesn't happen very often. You know, most of my conversations are about the weather and how are the kids. You know what I'm talking about. So I am very grateful to you thank you for making room for me in your life and this work. Any questions before we've got 5 more minutes, I believe.
yeah.
I'd just like to make a comment because I just think I I had other things to do and I was not going to stay on the whole time, but I've ended up staying on the whole time. So your presence just is so inviting and lovely. And it was the Carillion photography and stuff. When you said it, it never dawned on me that it's not here in the States because
It's not.
I grew up with all of
Not.
that stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
And
wouldn't
so
it be lovely
it's,
to have that? I mean, think about it.
yeah,
Every place in England and Ireland had it. You'd go
yeah,
to a little
it's,
fair, you'd go to a psychic fair, and there'd be somebody with a booth in the Carillion camera, and they'd
yeah,
take your picture. You know, you just
yeah,
see your aura for $1.50. I mean,
yeah.
why isn't
And
it? It probably couldn't even get it through customs here.
yeah, I teach an imagery training program. It's my husband's work. And most of the first year we actually spend working with the chakras and imagery.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's like this core light, and we moved away a bit from. We still say chakras, but we've moved a little bit away from it because some people got very hooked up in having to understand all the Hindu stuff about chakras, which isn't really where we were
No,
going at all. But I just want to affirm that I think it's just such important. It's an important modality or an important way, and it's so. And the way you talk about it is just so beautiful and fluid and kind. So I just wanted
thank,
to say that back to you, Ambika.
thank
Yeah,
you very much. I appreciate your feedback.
yeah.
I love the chakras. I love them because they're like ladders of love. They take us to higher consciousness. They help us heal. They have incredible healing powers. I'm going to just finish with a story. And it's an incredible story to me. It took me 8 years. I was a homeopath. I'd come to England to study homeopathy. And I was struggling. No, I was in a tutorial in the very first months of arriving, and my homeopath said, the homeopath who was teaching said, you can make homeopathic remedies out of anything. And I said, can you make them out of color? He said, why don't you go ahead and do that? I'd had about 2 months of homeopathy. I did not know anything. He said, go ahead and do it. So I got the books and I started studying how you made remedies and how they worked. And eventually I made these remedies on the winter solstice, and I was getting nowhere. And after 8 years, I had mounts. I had 3 feet of paper of people who had taken these remedies and had things. And outside of the nun I told you about, nobody was interested. The homeopaths were not interested. I was still studying. I was still a student. And they, as you two Irish gals know, the Brits don't give you credit for anything until you got the paper in your hand. They do not honor a student, even though I was older than all my teachers. When I finally finished, they started befriending me, and they had been really almost cruel. Our teachers are not like that in the United States. The Brits they're hard-assed in the way they treat their students. So I get this call after 8 years. 8 years I've been working on these color remedies. Nobody was interested. So I threw all the material in the trash bin and I walked away. I get a call about a month later from a very famous homeopath in Holland who's a medical doctor and a professor. And he says, we understand you're working on color remedies, and I would love to meet you. I'm coming to give my very first lecture to the homeopathic community in London, and we would love to have you show up. Blah, blah. And I said, I didn't even know what to say. I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't afford to come to London. I mean, I was a student. Even though I was an older woman, I was constantly needing to build up my second chakra. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't afford. He said, we'll send you the ticket. So I got a ticket, got on the train, went down there. All the students we always stayed at the Quaker Meeting House, which is really very inexpensive, bathroom down the hall kind of thing, near the British Museum. So he said he wanted to meet me on the break. So I went and said hello and thanked him for the ticket. And he said, we're very interested in what you're doing. We know that color has tremendous healing powers and blah, 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 blah. And I said, look, I threw everything in the trash bin. I'm really sorry. And he said to me, well, do it again. And I said, do it again? And he said, this time, young lady, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. Turn it over to other homeopaths. Get out of your own way. And he was right. He was absolutely right. So I went back up to the north of England. I found 3 female homeopaths who I knew and respected. And I said, would you women be willing to ask your clients if they'd be willing to prove this, that there's healing in these remedies? One woman had a client who had lost control of her bowels. She was incontinent with her bowels and was going to have a colostomy, where they do the operation and hook you up to a bag. And this woman said to her, would you be willing to try this remedy out? She said, yes, I would. I'll try anything. So she was given red because it was the root chakra and it was the lower abdomen. She was given red. I never met this woman, but she got control of her bowels and never needed to have a bowel resection at all, ever in her life. And that was in the book, Homeopathic Color and Sound Remedies. I couldn't have done that on my own. I always felt, after the first year or 2, I realized that I had guidance. I had angelic guidance. Sometimes I'd open the box and I'd start to cry. The box with the remedies, I'd just start to weep for no reason at all. But I realized I had a chip on my shoulder because it was just such a hard slog. A couple of the men in homeopathy tried to take the color remedies and write up an article as their own remedies. And I had to confront these men. Never confronted men like that in my life. I had to say to somebody who had taught me, what do you want from this? Why are you doing this? These remedies are not ready to go into the public eye. I mean, those were, talk about a growing up experience. So I just want to leave you with that story about the woman with the who took the red, and it was a life changer for me. And getting out of my own way was something I really had to learn. So I leave you with that story. And God bless her, and God bless many of the people who showed up for me, who taught me that color heals, that sound heals, that intention, the intention for goodness and blessings heal us all. Thank you so much. If you're interested in any classes, please get onto the website. I've enjoyed meeting all of you. You're precious. Thank you so much.
And we thank you, Ambika. We thank you from our hearts. And we are really, I might add, I think we're all deeply touched, and I can speak for myself, transformed
Thank
in a
you.
place that, yeah. So I thank you for the time you gave us. And I really look forward to visiting some of your website. Maybe we could, if you could send it to Mary, to Imagery International, so we can then,
the website's on here. I put the website on the chat.
okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
and this is your okay. So I'll take it and I'll make sure it goes out to
The universe.
on the email that
To
we
the
send out
universe.
after this.
Yeah,
We'll put it in
okay.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my dear. Thank you. God bless you all. Be well. Be well.
Yes.
Be
you.
safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.